Hello everybody, my name is Shannon Larkin. I'm the drummer for Godsmack, a band that I've known the singer SULLEY for almost 18 years, since the 80s. And he was a drummer also, and he would open for my old band Wrathchild, which later became Wrathchild America. And we instantly clicked and forged a friendship that lasted many, many, many years. And one day, he called me and said, basically, come to Boston, and if you get along with Robbie and Tony, the bass player and the guitar player, then you're in Godsmack. So that's how I got in Godsmack. And from Wrathchild, I played in a band called Ugly Kid Joe, which the singer Whitfield Crane is now in a band with Robbie and I called Another Animal, along with a man by the name of Lee Richards, and we have a record out also now. It's a side project to Godsmack, and we're going to get back to Godsmack in '09. So I'm here today to show you a couple of Godsmack songs and tell you a little bit about my background and about how the songs came to life. So, early influences of mine were Rush Hemispheres record was a big one for me. My sister is 2 years older than me, so, you know, she got me into Rush when at the time I was just listening to stuff that my parents had turned me on to. You know, my mom was like the rocker. She turned me on to the Creedence Clearwater Revival and the Beatles and the Zeppelin, and my dad was into the Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, and all the Elvis and the doo-wop and Chuck Berry and all that stuff. And so it was really my sister that made me want to do this for a living, because she turned me on to Rush Hemispheres. And shortly after that, Led Zeppelin II came into my life, and then it was over, and I asked for a drum set and quit beating on the pots and pans and the couch and stuff, and actually got a real drum set, which ironically was a sparkle blue kit like this beautiful set I'm playing now, but it wasn't as beautiful as this. It was an old Remo, probably third-hand drum kit, and the first one I got was one tom, one floor, kick drum and snare, one cymbal and a ride, and I didn't have any hi-hat. And that same Christmas, my Uncle Mike gave me Iron Butterfly's In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida and said that if I learned the solo on In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, he would buy me a hi-hat. So 2 weeks later, I got that hi-hat. And it was a big part of my life to get that hi-hat, because then all of a sudden I could play beats that I heard on the Led Zeppelin records. And so basically, after that, then I started getting into the heavier stuff. Like Motorhead was the first band that I heard that had double bass, and from there it went on to like Metallica in the early '80s, and then the Slayer, and ironically it came full circle. As I get older, I got really into bands like Oasis and Black Crowes, which kind of took me back to my roots of the Creedence and the Beatles vibe, you know. So there's my influences on my sleeve, and I wear them proudly, like a badge of honor. Okay, I'm going to talk about practice now, and for you beginners, you know, it's imperative to practice at drums like it is if you're playing bass or guitar or anything else. And when I was starting out, the practice came easy to me because I loved to play the drums so much and wanted to excel, wanted to be better, realized at an early age that this is what I want to do with my life. So with me, it got to the point where just a few hours after school wasn't enough for me. So my dad helped me build a soundproof room inside a garage, our garage, so that I could practice into the night, especially on weekends. I'd be up and just playing, till 2 or 3 in the morning. Mainly, I would play along with records as practice rather than sit there and just beat the hell out of the drums. I would, play along to a lot of my favorite records, and I highly recommend playing along with early AC/DC albums to get your metronome, your meter right, because as most professional drummers will tell you, probably the most important thing about being a drummer is keeping time, not necessarily how fast or how hard you play. It's being able to set the tempo for the band and keep your meter level and even. And I found that, all the early AC/DC records, from High Voltage to Back in Black, and, are just great records to play along to and get your feel and be able to keep a groove and have fun doing it. And then, for more advanced players, I got a lot of books. I never took lessons in my life, but I did, go to music stores and buy videos of my favorite drummers like Neil Peart, Tommy Aldridge, and I would study these videos and I'd take them home, and I would also play along with Rush records and Zeppelin records, and basically practice, and you're never gonna get great unless you practice. So there you go. It might sound redundant, but practice, baby. All right, gear. We're going to talk about my gear. I play Sabian cymbals, and I play Yamaha drums, and I play Vic Firth sticks. And I don't play these companies because they give them to me free, which I'm blessed enough to have been successful in this business to get free gear. But I honestly play these instruments because I love them, and I think that they're the best on the planet. The Sabian cymbals, for instance, this ride right here is a 22-inch power bell, and in 1988, I shopped at a music store in Virginia where I was living at the time called Benjamin Music, and I met a man there that had a connection at Sabian when the company first started out and split off from Zildjian, and they gave me the prototype for this ride right here. The very first one I still have, although it was a 22-inch with a 12-inch ice bell for a ride. But ever since I played that cymbal, I've never wanted to use another cymbal besides Sabian. For crashes, I like AAs. I use Vault 20-inch over here. For the Paragons, or for the China type, I use the Paragon, which Neil Peart, again, idol, probably one of the best rock drummers to ever walk the planet. Basically, hands-on helped design the Paragon cymbal with Sabian. And I love his hi-hats too, very dry and crisp, cut really well. For splashes, I also use Paragons. And this ice bell I just got this year. It's a brand new one. It's very saucy and very silver. But it really sounds great too. That thing cuts through even in a rock band, ouch. But anyway, yeah, the drums, I like the Birch Custom Absolutes. And Yamaha's also making an oak shell that's really, really nice too. My brother Sully in Godsmack plays the oaks, and he likes them a bit better than the birch. But I stick to the birch because they just have a warmth that I don't get in any other shell. And I really like sparkly finishes, and that further kind of dampens, darkens the sound even a little more. And so you can actually, tune the drums a little bit higher and still get the depth out of the toms. But basically for heads, we use pinstripes live, and in the studio, I like the Emperor Ambassador combination, top and bottom, thinner heads. They seem to sing more. With Godsmack, actually, we used the pinstripes, but with another animal, I went with the Ambassador Emperor combination, which again just makes the drums a bit louder, a bit more ringy, and because I don't use as much effects on the drums for another animal, so it's nice to let them ring out a little more, But you can't really go wrong with pinstripes for a live situation, and even in the studio, like I said with Godsmack, it works. All right, and for sticks, Vic Firth, American Classic Rocks. These are big sticks, and I've always loved them. They don't break so much as get thin and whittle down, you know. They're paired and weighted, and I've played them for as long as I can remember. They're a little bit longer than a 2B, not quite as long as the Tommy Lee stick, but it's I find to be the perfect rock stick. And again, I swear by Vic Firth. It's just been it's a great stick company that cares about their artists and have always treated me great. And I can't ever see myself playing anything else. But and then want to talk about my pedals. They're the Flying Dragon by Yamaha, which again I've played drums for probably 30 years now, and I've used a lot of different pedals. I started out playing the Speed King, and then I've tried the Ghost pedal with the round spring, and you know, of course I played the DW5000s and the Pearl P880s, and I tell you, man, Yamaha Flying Dragon rules and kills everybody. It's something that I've played on tour, and I play really hard and sometimes stand up and I kick the crap out of my pedals, and these things really don't break. I've had maybe 2, maybe 3 breaks in 20 tours or something. So Flying Dragons are awesome, and I swear by those. You know, all the hardware, the hi-hat stand, Yamaha hardware, just killer. Can't say enough about my drums and cymbals and sticks. I'm just so happy with all my gear, and I would recommend to any beginner to try Yamaha, because even their cheaper kits, their beginner kits, have really nice stuff, really nice hardware, and they really care about their product. Toka makes all my percussion, and again, man, we use a lot of hand drums in Godsmack. You know, djembes, bongos, congas, shakers, and Toka just pulls through every time and makes great stuff. I haven't ever had one complaint about any of their gear, and again, a great company that really cares about, you know, their product. And in fact, in Godsmack, Toka made us these djembes, and they brought the djembes to us, and they had the Godsmack sun carved into these djembes, and they showed us pictures of the dudes in Indonesia or some place like that. I mean, you know, dudes in loincloths sitting there carving these djembes. It's just crazy, real hand drums, man. Real, you know, care put into every drum. So Toka, I got to give props to. So now that covers all my gear for sure. And any electronics I use, I don't have any electronics on my kit right now, but when Godsmack goes out, I do use 2 pads, and they're Yamaha pads. Yamaha makes great electronics also. And as far as the tuning, I think it's pretty simple to tune drums. I was taught at a very young age to just simply, you know, try and get all the tones and the lugs the same. That drum's tuned nice. Anyway, it takes an ear for it. It took me I'd say, a good 2 years before I actually got to where I could, you know, differentiate the tone enough to be able to actually tune a ring out, particularly in the studio when I started making records, because it's rather embarrassing when you can't get a ring out of your drum, you know, and especially if you know it's a really good drum and it's been proven in the studio, but then you're sitting there hitting and it's ringing. You know, it's something that, just like playing the drums, it takes practice, man. You got to sit around and tune the drums, and then you'll learn how to tune them, and once you kind of get an ear for it, then it becomes much easier. Some people might tune the bottom head a little higher or a little lower. I generally, in the studio anyway, go for the same pitch on my top and bottom head. And if I do make the bottom head different in pitch, I like it lower rather than higher. It tends to make the drum much easier to tune in a live situation when you have to do it quick. you can just go down to the bottom head and loosen one lug and usually get a ring out of the PA. So there's a little, my tuning philosophy on the snare drum. Basically, I crank it up pretty tight, and I loosened the two lugs on either side of the snares a little bit, and it lets a little more buzz happen on the bottom head. And that's about my only secret to tuning. And the rest my tech Shane Hall does usually. I honestly don't tune drums much anymore. So I've had my guy for 9 years, so I'm pretty spoiled. Like when it comes to coming in and sitting down, my drums just sound great. I don't have to tune them much. And that's about it. With no further ado, I'm gonna show you guys some songs by Godsmack, and I'm gonna try and break it down and show you exactly what I do, so that you can maybe try and apply it to your own drum kit at home. So check it out. All right, so we are going to play some drums now, the fun part. This is a song from Godsmack called Straight Out of Line off the Faceless record. It's the first single off the record, and first video, we made a video of this with Dean Carr, our good friend, and still my favorite Godsmack video. And it's a really cool beat, and incidentally, it was the first song that I ever wrote with Godsmack. When I first joined the band, I went and I auditioned in Boston, I got the gig, and we immediately started writing the Faceless record. And this was the first song that they showed me. And Tony Rumbola showed me the guitar riff. And SULLEY said, I want a tom groove. And then turned around and walked out of the room. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to write a tom groove. So I wanted it, the riff was a dark sounding riff. And the main thing that Tony wanted was for it to be really groovy. And then we're gonna stop and then blast into the big part, right? So I started with the hi-hat. Just got my hat on first. Started like that, and then it developed, over as I continued to play it with Tony. It works in and out of the guitar thing. I made it a little more intricate as far as going to the second tom. At the time, actually, when I did it, I had tom 1 and tom 2 were over here. So it's a little bit more, it's a little different to play with my new setup. I put my right tom on the right side of my ride rather than 2 over here. So, with that said, the bell parts there match with the guitar. If you've listened to the Faceless record or the 4 record or any of my past records, you'll notice that I play a lot to the guitar, and I really key off the rhythm guitar rather than, a lot of drummers will key off the bass. I'm a guy that's always, for some reason, keyed off the rhythm guitar, and so I will follow a lot of what it does. And this groove, by the way, is also the verse groove. So it'll come into the big blast part and then break back down into the verse with this beat. I'll show you this beat again and then show you the variation that I do in the verse to break it up. Because also, obviously you listen when you're coming up with a beat for a song, you kind of have where the verse and the chorus vocal is going to go. So you also have to play accordingly. You don't want to be playing too much to where it steps on the vocal or whatever. So that's basically the intro, and then it goes into the big part, and then the verse. So I'll play through those 3 parts a little slower than the way I do it on the record, and a little quieter too. So you can, kind of get a vibe of what the kick drum is doing. then that's the intro. And then we go into the big part, and that's where it explodes into the crash ride thing. And then basically, again, I just follow the rhythm guitar on this one. So it'll come in after the... Let me break that fill down. That was a cool fill that kind of came right off the top of my head there when we were writing this song. And again, though, it follows the guitar in a strange way. But it was something that came out that was really cool. But anyway, I'll break it down slow for you. I just went... So again, it was all. So fast as. And then the same groove in the verse. Now I'm gonna break this down real slow, so that you can see exactly what I'm doing in the verse groove, which is the same as the intro groove with a variation in a fill that breaks up 2 and 4. So, wicked slow would be... In the mid-verse, after 2, I break it up with a small fill. And then we go into the chorus, which basically I go to the ride and just keep a groove again with the guitar. And just to recap, at the end of that chorus, it's 4. It's a quad on the kick drum into the fill. So. I'm going to give this at the medium speed here. Now we'll bring it up to full speed. Then we go back into the big part. Another verse, second verse, and then after the second verse, we go into a big chorus, and then we'll go into the middle eighth. And then with the middle eighth of this song, there's a little variation it's basically like the tom groove, but then I just go to the hat. That's like when it's broken down there, because you're trying to create some kind of, there's valleys and peaks in songs, and as the drummer, what you're really trying to do is create the mood. You're adding the feel to the song, and if you can show dynamics, then you're doing your job. So what I tried to do there was really break it down into a dark groove that was slightly different than the tom groove, and there's a cool little thing too on the show side that I like to do that usually freaks people out, but it's a real simple little thing. Just dropping your stick like this, but I go. So when I hit this hi-hat here, I throw the left hand to the hat, and then drop this stick like this. Put that on the hat and drop this stick. So I'll show it to you slow. It's almost harder to do slow, but it looks like this. It's cool. That's a little cool thing. And out of that then, big lead section, I pretty much just filled off the top of my head. I don't even, a lot of times as you play a song 50, 60 times or whatever on a 2-year tour, you start to improvise a little bit and play things that were different, and you look back and or listen back to the record or hear the song on the radio and you go, oh wow, I played that part a little different, and but that's a beautiful thing, I think, because obviously it keeps us from getting bored playing the same track, and it's always nice too because you come back to it later after making a new record or having some time off, and it makes you relearn your own song. So it's kind of cool, and it's kind of what I went through for this thing, because we, I haven't played the song in a long time. So it was cool being able to show this to you people, and after having just relearned it myself. So anyway, with that said, after the middle eighth part, then the lead. The lead is basically just it's just a groove that follows the guitar. Then I go into a big monster fill. In a typical drum kit, all it is it's going down the line from the highest tom to the lowest tom. My kit set up pretty weird where my 10-inch tom's over here. So, and then I got the 12, 13, 14, 16. So the fill looks like this when I play it, but again, in a normal kit, you'll just be going do that that do that that do that that do that that do that do. But when I do it, it goes. So I'll show you how it looks slow. And then when we're going to take it up to speed, it looks like this. Then we're going to finish the lead out into the last chorus. We're out of there. Have fun. right then, we're going to break down the song Speak, which is on Godsmack 4, which is my favorite record I think we've made, I would say. So this song is a groovy number that, again, kind of like Straight Outta Line, a lot of the work I do sticks pretty close to the guitar riff. You know, I like to try and mimic the guitar riff and get a groove going with that. And that allows Robbie, our bass player, he's a good player in and out of the groove. And I like to hope that it makes it sound a little different than every other rock and metal band or whatever. But it's a pretty simple groove. I do some ghost notes on the snare. I have my Remo drum head really tight on the snare so it gets good buzz. But so the song starts out, I give a big 2 count on the chinas, and then we come in. That's the intro. It's the same actual beat that I use throughout the intro, verse, and chorus. I just go from quarter notes on the china, eighth notes on the hat, and here's how it sounds slow. I'll play that a little faster at full speed. And then, basically, I go into the verse and keep the same groove going. I'll tell you one interesting thing real quickly that I do. That it's a very, very, like I said, simple beat. But how I make it more interesting live is you can use the left and right hand. You know, that came from, I broke my collarbone as a child. I jumped on a basketball. I was 8 years old, and somebody else went to jump on the basketball too and landed on me and broke my collarbone. And back then, you know, back in the dark ages, they used to put a body cast on you. And so I still have my wrist free, so I could still actually hold a drumstick. So what I did was I raised my snare really high and lowered my hi-hat so that I could still play beats. So then when I got the cast off, I was used to playing with my left hand over my right hand, which, you know, typically it's right hand over left. So I was all. So to get me back to normal, with my right hand over my left, I'd simply bring the left hand. See, then I was normal, so. All kinds of variations on that theme, you know. It's something that I do a lot if I'm playing the crash ride. Anyway, that's a little lesson within a lesson there for showmanship. So back to the song "Speak." To the chorus, same basic groove on the kick and snare. But then I just go to the ride cymbal, accent crashes. So to break that down, it's not really that hard. It's, like I said, the same thing. But there is the 1 and 2 and 4 and on the chinas. On the record, I just do 3 of them and then a fill. But then live, I got attached to it and would do 4. So it sounds like this on the record. I would fill off the end of that, you know, but then live I always go. Which I kind of just fell for that little 1 and 2 and thing, you know, and the rest of the guys did too as well. In fact, when I first did that little and thing, it was right off the top of my head. And we were going for it in the studio, and I did it, and Sully liked it so much that, you know, we actually overdubbed that because it wasn't really cutting through enough, you know, the mic placement or what have you when we were making the record. And they were like, man, that China needs to come out more. So I went in the studio and went. But anyway, so we're in the chorus. At the end of the chorus, there's a cool little thing that we come out again where they do a riff, and I just fill right with it. So slowly, it sounds like this. All right, then let me play that at speed for you again. As I play the song, sometimes I do different fills, you know. Sometimes I play it like the record. For the most part, I play it like the record. But, you know, depends on how you see me, how I feel that night. But it usually sounds like this. Goes back to the intro part as like a bridge in the song, which basically gets you into the second verse, in which I do a pretty cool fill in the very beginning, which locks really tight with the whole band. It's staccato, and it sounds. Same groove there. if you notice, which you can't really even hear this thing on the record, but I do ghost notes on the snare. And typically, if I'm doing a groove like this, a funky thing, I start with, it's almost as if I'm doing a roll, but I start it here so that the groove is actually But that's one of those things, being a drummer, it totally gets lost when you put the wall of guitar and bass and vocals, you know, in rock particularly. But I am embracing that. And again, I'm just following the guitar basically, but to break the verse up a little bit, as I tend to like to do, either with a fill or some kind of offbeat. And this one ended up being. And we're back in the chorus. This chorus is a double chorus, so just to break them up, I do a little fill, and it's kind of like a little Tommy fill, where I'm coming out of the groove, it sounds. That brings us to the middle eighth, in which I let the guitar riff go there, and I do a big stop with another thing that I like to do live, which is I got basically from Neil Peart, just throwing the sticks way up, you know, and any kind of big pow, you know, AC/DC type accent, and you have the opportunity to throw a stick, you know, which is, you know, adds a little bit of flavor, spice to it. But if there's a big accent part, like we break it down, the guitarist does a ha, 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 and we accent. Like coming out of the chorus into that section, there's a little fill, and it's fun to throw, you know, if it's all. You know, kept everything really simple there. The breakdown on the snare is obviously an old John Bonham trick. You know how Zeppelin would take it down, and he'd get a little snare action going on, and then the big roll with the single A's. I do a lot of fast rolls going into the choruses. When I'm coming out of the verse, I tended to go. Got Buddy Rich on the snare there, so going into the big lead section to accent Tony's, he comes in with one note, wham, and he's wailing. So I just want to do a real simple, big, you know, snare drum fill there. So it ended up being. Then we're actually into the lead section. Which I just went to the ride. That was wrong. I actually I do the lead section in this song on the hi-hat. And there's a method to the madness there, because I do an inverted fill, which gets use out of this floor tom being on this side, makes it a lot easier actually than coming up this way. So when we go in the lead from the big snare fill, again, it's really getting tight with the rhythm guitar, you know, and that fill actually came about as the engineer of the album wanted that to be an inverted fill, and I had it going. He's like, "Can you come up, mate?" Andy Johns, this English guy, you know, so. And again, that's a tight thing that happens with the rhythm guitar. The rhythm says dun 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 dun. So I follow it right, man, like brother. So. That is the end of the lead section, and I really love that. It's a very simple little thing, but the guitar goes bam, 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 and down, and instead of just going, I just added a little extra kick drum in there, so it's all. But when you hear it fast, you know, and you're coming out of that lead section. From the chorus, it just basically, the intro of the song with the quarter notes on the China type ends up being the outro too. So, you know, I do another Tommy type fill where I'm off halfway through the chorus, and then at the end it's just another buzz roll, you know. There we have the whole song. Good luck. Enjoy it.